video tutorial here, and today I will be speaking about Markdown. What is Markdown? Markdown is I would say almost like a text formatting language that you use. Mostly I use it on GitHub, for example. So if I go to any of my repositories, for example, you see all these things, like this is like in big bold letter, this is like a simple sentence, there's like a link, and there's like another underline, and there's like a list, and all these things. So these things look pretty nice, and you notice all this is coming from this file called readme.md. So md is the file format. MD is the file format, for Markdown. Okay, and a lot of times you'll see this, every repository you open from most GitHub projects, you'll see there'll be a readme.md, and you look at it, there'll be a button called raw. So if I open this file raw, you'll see that this is what Markdown is all about. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So you'll see here, let me put this on the right side, and let me go ahead and put this on the left side. You'll notice that when I use a hash, and that looks like a title, when I don't use it, it becomes like a simple paragraph. And using the hash also puts like a line, which makes it look nice. And for example, you see here, you put a square bracket, and then you put these tiny braces. That makes it like a link. So I can click on this, and I can open it as a link, and so on and so forth. So this is what Markdown is all about. So Markdown is like you can even call it like a text formatting syntax style, which helps you write good looking documentation. It is also useful. For example, if I go here to one of my repositories, for example, let's say you're discussing something on GitHub, like in discussions and stuff like that. So here also we use Markdown. So like, for example, here I am making it like a very nice and clean, a simple sentence with some formatting, a list, a link, and all these things. So this is essentially how it looks. So you can see here that when I type 1 dot, and then there's a space there, then again 2 dot, and then there's a space there, 3 dot, and then there's a space, that becomes like this. So you'll see Markdown being used on GitHub constantly. All right, so that is where you'll see Markdown, and if you are a regular user of GitHub, then you should know some basics of Markdown. Now let me go ahead and quickly show you some things which I use on a daily basis. So let me go ahead and create. The best way to practice Markdown is to simply use your VS Code. So let me go ahead and create a folder here. I'm going to call this Markdown practice, and then I will go inside the folder and open this in VS Code. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'll do the split window. On the top right corner I have the split editor. So there you go. And then on the left side in the file explorer, I'll create a file called readme.md. You can create any name you want. I'm just going with readme.md. Next thing what I want to do is, because I'm trying to practice and also look at the output, I want to right click again, and I get an option called preview. So now I'll move the preview to the left side, and I'll keep the code on the right side. Okay. So now what I can do is I can type things here, and I can see on the left side how it will look when you upload this file on the internet or something like that. So first thing what I normally do is I usually go ahead and put a hash, which is like the title of this file. It can be a title, it can be a heading. I like this one because it gives a nice like a horizontal line, which is cool. Now if you don't want a horizontal line, I think it's double hash, and then there you go, title of this file. So that is like another slightly heading type formatting, but without the line and so on. Another thing I do a lot when I'm coding is a list. So to make a list, all you have to do is put any number you want. So 1 dot, and then this is the first item. And now when you press enter, all you have to do is simply say one dot, and it'll automatically add the line numbers. You can see on the left side it's adding 1, 2, even though on the right side I'm just keeping it 1. And this is very useful because you don't have to worry about keeping track of things. So this is the second item. So I can keep doing it. I can keep adding. This is the third item. Now I'm not going to say 1 dot or 2 dot or 3 dot because the computer will do that for me. And another reason is, let's say after some time I feel like adding a new item here. I can add it, and the Markdown will automatically update the numbers. First item part 2. See, that is why I like to just keep it 1 dot, and then the space is important. If you remove the space, then the bullet list will go away. It becomes a normal sentence. You can see there's a slight bluish color indicating that when you remove the space, it's no longer a bullet item. You can see on the left side as well. Now, another thing I sometimes do is I like to go inside an item and create a list inside a list. So I hit tab and I start with this again. This is inside the list. So there you go. See? So if you have a list inside a list, you would hit tab, and then you can keep doing that. You can keep adding a list inside a list. This is inside the list, inside the list. You know, like Inception, you can keep going, digging deeper, and so on and so forth. So as long as you maintain the tab indentation, you can do all kind of stuff. So that is the another thing that I do frequently, a quick list. Okay, and another I like to link things. So whenever you want to link, for example, I want to link my GitHub account. So this is my GitHub account. So whatever words you want to show up as the link, you will use the square bracket. The actual link will be inside the tiny braces. So I'm going to go back to my GitHub account. Sorry. So where is my GitHub account? I have it here. So I'll take the link. I'll come back to my VS Code. So there you go. And now you can see it has become a link on the left side. So you put the title, the text of your link inside the square brackets, the actual link inside the, what do you say? The tiny braces. So title, another thing that I do frequently is I want to show an image or something. Now for the image, what I want to do is I want to go back to my repository here. Now for the image, I would like the code for that. I do use images a lot in many of, there you go, this is another image. So how do I get this image? What is the code for that? The code for this is, this is how it looks. There you go. So if you want to show an image, you would use the exclamation symbol, and then you would put the image title, just like you put the link title. It looks exactly like your link formatting. So it's the same thing really. So if you look here, so there you go, you have you put your image info, and then you put the path to your image. So on the right side, you're not getting any actual image because the image is missing. So let's go online. Let me go to my website here. I have a website. Okay, so let's say I want to, I have a bit of a photography hobby. So let's say I want to take this image. I want to use this here. So I can go ahead and take this image, and I will put this image path here. There you go. So that is how you would use a image in your GitHub. Very useful because, for example, if you look at this one, I have, I want to show some, this image was created using P5.js. So I want to showcase this image in my GitHub readme.md file. So using Markdown, I'm able to link this image like I did here so that it looks a little nice. So there you go. So these are the main basic things. Oh, hold on. Another thing you will do is you'll be showing a lot of code. So if you want to show code, you'll have to use 3 like this. Okay. So 3 backticks. So these are backticks. So let me get some code from somewhere. Let me go into my P5.js chapter 0, and I need some JavaScript. There it is. So I'm going to copy this JavaScript. So let's say I want to showcase this JavaScript. I'll put it inside, and there you go. So Markdown will add like a gray area, so the code sort of highlights itself. So that is another thing you'll do a lot. So whenever you're interacting with other developers, let me get some more code. So for example, this function, so I want to do something like, okay, I want to showcase these two functions. I go here and I'll be like, hey guys, this is the code I am writing, and then I want to use backticks, and then there you go. So now again, I have a paragraph, and I have the code in the gray area. So there you go. These are the main things you would do in everyday Markdown usage on GitHub. You put the big title with an underline like this. You put the small title with a double hash. You make your list like this. The key thing is just make sure you put number, anything you want, and then a dot, and then a space, and just keep adding, and the computer will automatically render the items in the with the number counting. And you can use indentation to create a list inside list. As long as the indentation is matching, the list will look just fine. The numbering will look just fine. Another thing you'll do a lot in Markdown is show links. So to show links, you would use the square brackets and then a link, right? And then another thing you will do is the images. So whenever you want to show an image, you would use the exclamation symbol plus square bracket. This is the image text. If the image is missing, like you do it's an alt text for images. And then you have the actual link to the image here. And finally, other than images, you will also show code. So there you go. These are the main things you will do with Markdown. And well, that's all there is to it. Thank you for listening.